So how do you go about fixing that? I mean, where does the industry need to go? And I would guess that it can't just be a few people who feel one way about this. It has to be an industry-wide movement, right?
Well, there is an industry-wide movement, which is called C3, which stands for Construction Career Collaborative. And it's the good thing about the Construction Career Collaborative, it is a group effort that includes owners, general contractors, and subcontractors. And if we're going to go forward and solve this situation that we find ourselves in, it's going to take a collaborative effort of all the interested parties to the construction process to solve the problem. But basically what C3 is all about is, first of all, paying workers by the hour, not treating workers as independent subcontractors, but paying them by the hour, paying the associated payroll taxes, and providing workers' compensation. You know, many of the workers on a job site today, if they get hurt, they end up down at Ben Todd trying to get some type of medical treatment because there is no insurance in place for those workers.
Yeah, I talked with a worker who pointed out the irony that if he's working on a building and a piece of the building falls, there's insurance for the piece that fell, but if he fell off the building, there wouldn't be insurance for him.
That's exactly it. And it's a sad state of affairs, but that's very prevalent in the industry today.
When people think about what goes on one of these job sites, they probably have it in their head that it's very fractured. You know, you've got a general contractor, then subcontractors, subcontractors. You go down multiple tiers there. And so it would seem that if these things are going to be fixed, collaborative is the key word, right? I mean, all of those different entities, from the owner to the GC to the subs, they all have to work together, right? And they all have to have shared values.
I think that's right, and I think, you know, we're in a situation really where we need owners to take a leadership role in setting standards for people working on their job sites. Because as long as the owners are only concerned about price and what's happening today, that's what they're going to get. And that's kind of what's led to where we are today, is this industry's price-driven. By treating people as independent contractors and not paying any workers' compensation, not paying any payroll taxes, you gain a competitive advantage over legitimate contractors who do those types of things.
Yeah, and I saw where it was the Texas Contractors Association, TCA, said that when people are intentionally misclassifying their employees, the guy who's doing it legitimately can be underbid by as much as 25, almost 30%. How can anybody compete with that?
Well, you can't. The answer is really that you can't.
Yeah. So when we look at what may happen with the Construction Career Collaborative moving forward, that's something that is, to a lot of people, it's something new. We've been talking about it on Construction Citizen for a while. But as far as what may happen with that, how do you convince people that price isn't the only thing that should matter? Because as Americans, we're kind of conditioned to just think, you know, the lowest price is the right way to go.
Well, let's talk about what the ramifications are of treating a blue-collar worker in that fashion. You know, the initial price may seem low. I like to say that it's not possible to have cheap labor that is skilled, and it's not possible to have skilled labor that is cheap.
Right.
And so if we want to build a skilled workforce, a workforce that's going to build for the future, that's going to be here as Houston grows, then just like we've changed our attitudes towards the way that we build buildings by LEED certification and making sure they're sustainable and they're environmentally friendly, we need to take that same approach towards the workforce and understand that buildings don't get built without people, and that this abuse really of the workforce is going to lead to destroying the workforce.
Yeah.
And so I think that's our big challenge going forward in this industry.
It's a great point. I mean, if we're going to push for having a sustainable environment, we should also push for a good situation for people to actually live if they're going to enjoy the environment that we live in, right?
Exactly. What I like to tell our guys when we have our company-wide safety meetings, and I'm talking to our field workforce, is that they have the most important job in the company because they do the one thing that we get paid to do. get paid to answer the phone. We don't get paid to estimate jobs. We don't get paid to do any of those things. What we get paid to do is go out and install a high-quality, leak-free project for the owner. And that's the work that our blue-collar workers do for us.
Yeah, and those guys, I mean, they just toil, they work so hard. It is really unfortunate to see. And I know you take care of your employees here at Chamberlin, but there's a lot of companies that don't do that. They're sort of the unscrupulous types. They are the unscrupulous types. And so these people do end up getting abused, and they end up being in a very low-wage situation. They end up in an unlivable situation. It's not that they're not hard workers. They are hard workers. They're working as hard as anybody, you know, toiling in the hot Texas sun, and still can't make ends meet. It's just too bad.
Well, you know, picture yourself making $15 an hour. You have no benefits. You don't have paid vacation. You've got no paid holidays. You don't have any health insurance. You've got 2 kids. And now your car breaks down, and the bill's $1,000 to fix your car. You probably can't afford any automobile insurance, number one. And so now, where do you come up with $1,000 that you don't have in savings to go fix your car?
Yeah.
And so that then begins for a lot of our workers kind of a free fall into unemployment or into some other kind of problem because of the low wages.
Well, I think, you know, one key point is if that happened with somebody previously, when there was always plenty of low-skilled workers, then they would just find somebody else, right? If that guy didn't show up, there'd be another guy the next day.
Standing in the door.
But as we see this continue to fall off, and we have less and less of a workforce there to go and do the work, as orders pick up, as the economy picks up, and we need more buildings built, the people won't be showing up unless we take care of those people.
No question about that. You know, this is a struggle that we have been involved in for years, and I'm really delighted to see that the Construction Career Collaborative is coming about because it's so badly needed to address this workforce issue that we're facing today, and it's going to get even more complicated and difficult in the future if we don't do something about it.
John Kafka, thank you.
Thank you.